How does a professional private investigator document evidence from an investigation to ensure it is usable in court? Welcome to the PI Guy, tips, tricks, and advice for professional private investigators just like you. My name is John Morris. I am a licensed professional private investigator in Colorado. Today's topic comes from a question posed to me recently from none other than John Doe himself. John asked me regarding a video about a criminal defense case where the defendant was charged with assault after a vehicle accident. John asked, how do we document something like this so that we can use the information in court? Yes, we can record it, etc. But is that sufficient documentation for the defense attorney to be able to use it where it counts? Great question, Mr. Doe, and thank you so much for asking. What questions do you have regarding being a professional private investigator? Go down in the comments below and let me know. If I use your question in an upcoming video, I just might give you a shout out too. The case in question involved a defendant who was essentially being stalked by his ex-wife's boyfriend. He was always showing up at the weirdest times and places. Then suddenly he showed up behind the defendant and his kids at a stoplight. Then he suddenly rammed into the defendant's vehicle from the rear. When the defendant got out of his vehicle and approached the ex-wife's boyfriend, he saw him reaching for something and was in fear for his life. Thinking he had a gun, he reacted by punching the boyfriend. When the police arrived, they took the boyfriend's story as gospel because they had witnesses that corroborated the story on scene. However, the police did not do a very good job of making sure the witnesses' stories were their stories and not a fabrication of the truth. That is where I came in. The attorney for the defendant had hired me to look into the police investigation further. In doing so, I found out with my witness interviews that most of the witness interviews were based assumptions from what they had heard happen or what they were told happened by others. It seems the boyfriend was in the middle of the witnesses, talking to them, telling them what happened from his perspective all the time the officers were questioning the defendant. As well, the officers had let the witnesses mingle together for quite some time, swapping their stories back and forth. How many cases have you had that went similar to this? I know. I have had several like this over the years. Now, I'm not dissing the police. I know they have a tough job to do, and there are many moving parts to every one of their calls. But leaving witnesses to talk amongst themselves is a real no-no, and letting a party to the case, such as an alleged victim, be mingling with them, well, that is just disaster waiting to happen. Documentation of these things comes in many forms, so let's get into this really quick now. And I will give you the #1 secret that most PIs do not know to ensuring their evidence is presentable in a court of law in just a moment. The first level of documentation when it comes to a witness interview is to get it recorded if at all possible. Now, I do not video record my interviews usually. There is a place for video recorded interviews, but in most cases, audio is fine. I do all of my audio recordings with this little device right here, the Avista 16 gigabyte digital audio recorder. I will leave an affiliate link down in the comments below in case you want more details on this. When you get your interview, before hitting that record button, make sure the date and time are set properly. With a quality voice recorder like this one from Avista, it will embed that date and time stamp into the meta information of the audio recording file. This is helpful in many ways. One, it confirms the date and time that you said the recording happened, and it gives you the exact time and date to refer to for your written report. If you are interviewing multiple witnesses at the same location, make sure you do a separate recording for each witness. And make sure the witnesses are separated, like in different rooms, while conducting the interviews. This is highly important, and it ensures you do not make the same mistake the police made in this case study. If needed, make sure that they stay in their vehicle, outside, wherever, and always instruct them to not discuss the case with each other. Why would you want a separate recording for each interview and not just leave the recorder running during the entire process? For one, the technical aspect comes into play. If your batteries in the recorder die while recording, it could easily corrupt the entire file and you could lose everything. There is another thing to do with your recorder prior to doing the interview. Check the battery level. On mine, it is displayed right up in the top right corner. And since this is a USB rechargeable device. If the battery is low, I can use just about any micro USB charger, like for a phone, to charge it and to power it while I am recording. But the most important reason to make sure you do a separate recording for each interview is to make sure the attorney has a choice of what to bring to court. Notice I said a separate recording for each interview. So if you do 2 interviews with witness number 1, do not combine those into one file. Make sure you leave them as separate recordings. The attorney may want to bring the original interview into evidence, but not the follow-up interview. Now, when it comes to your written report of the interviews, refer to that time and date stamp on the voice recorder to enter that into the report. Make sure the report and the recorder metadata match. What do you do if the recorder time or date or both are not right? This can and most likely will happen at some time for whatever reason. If the device gets reset or you have big fumbly fingers like mine and you press the wrong buttons or whatever. Then in your report, put the date and the time and make note that says something to the effect of, note, due to a mechanical issue with the investigator's recorder, the date and timestamp in the recording's metadata do not reflect the actual time and date of the interview. What should you do before you put that into your report? Yes, check with your client, the attorney, and make sure they want it. They may want to just let it go and say, well, if they ask, you have answers. Or they may want it in the report to make sure the other side can't bring it up themselves as an attack on your report. Big lesson there is to always check with the attorney whenever any serious questions arise and see how they want it handled. I have seen many a time an attorney get surprised in court about information in a report because it was never brought to their attention. Now, I always write my reports pretty much verbatim, but I always put a disclaimer like this in the report too. This record of the interview is not a verbatim dialogue, rather an accurate synopsis of the witness's remarks during the interview. This way, if there is a word off here or there, it is fine as long as it is essentially factually correct. But always play back that recorded interview and proofread your report at the same time just to make sure it is accurate. Before we get to that top secret that most PIs do not know about insuring, their evidence is presentable in a court of law, here is another thing you need to make sure is in your report. Make sure your interview reports have these types of statements, whichever is accurate. A phone interview was conducted with Mrs. Doe at 720-720-0202. This interview was recorded. An in-person interview was conducted with Miss Doe at 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. During this interview, Mr. Smith, the attorney for Mrs. Doe, was present. This interview was not recorded. An in-person interview was conducted with Miss Doe at 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. This interview was recorded. Adjust that as necessary, but make sure you include what type of interview was conducted, like on the phone or in person, who, if anyone, was present, and if it was recorded or not. Now again, you may want to discuss this with your client, the attorney, first, and check to see if he wants that information, whether it was recorded or not, to be included in the report. If you have troubles during the interview, he may not want it in there. Another thing, really quick, hang on, I almost forgot about this. When you start your recorded interviews, always start them with something like this. This is Investigator John Morris. It is Thursday, February 29th, 2021, 10 a.m. I am interviewing Mr. John Doe on the telephone. Mr. Doe, are you aware that I am recording this interview? Yes. Mr. Doe, do I have your permission to record this interview? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Doe. Please begin by stating your full name, spelling your last name, and stating your address and date of birth. Or if it is in person, do it something like this. This is Investigator John Morris. It is Thursday, February 29th, 2021, 10 a.m. I am interviewing Mr. John Doe at his residence at 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. Mr. Doe, are you aware that I am recording this interview? Yes. And Mr. Doe, do I have your permission to record this interview? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Doe. Please begin by stating your full name, spelling your last name, and stating your address and date of birth. One thing you have to absolutely keep in mind, folks, is when it comes to your presentation of interviews, reports, or any evidence for that matter, it does not mean a thing if you cannot effectively testify to the validity and accuracy of what is in there or be cross-examined by the other side. The attorney cannot bring it into court if you aren't there to testify. The attorney cannot play that recording to the jury if you are not there to be questioned by the other side. Yes, you do need to make sure everything is accurate in your reports. All of the I's are dotted and all of the T's are crossed, and it is grammatically correct and all of that other jazz. You can present it in the best possible way. Be the absolute greatest report writer and interviewer. But if you do not go to court, cannot go to court, or cannot be effective on the stand, well, it is all for naught, folks. Make sure you know everything in your reports, inside and out, frontwards and backwards. Yes, I have been asked to repeat events in reverse order before. And if at all possible, ask the attorney to do a mock cross-exam with you prior to the court date. Now, if you would like to know 10, yes, count them, 10 background checks that a private investigator needs to know, then check out this video.